We are all set to go.
Okay, I'll call us to order. Welcome, everybody, to the Centerville Planning Commission for January 28th, 2026. We are going to do a quick roll call. I think of the people that we're missing, it's Vice Chair Patterson and, let's see.
Commissioner Jorgensen's walking in.
Oh, excellent. Just in time. We were just calling things to order for roll call, and you'll be next on the agenda with your thought. Yeah. Anyways, so we're missing Vice Chair and Commissioner Moss, Commissioner Moss. Okay, so we will proceed with the legislative prayer and thought, if you have one, and then we'll go to the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, okay. Well, then we will do a legislative prayer, and I'll do it, and then we'll go the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father in heaven, we're very grateful to come together and to do the public's work here. We're very grateful for the blessings we have to live in this community. We're also grateful for the freedoms that we enjoy. We ask for thy Spirit to bless us as we make these decisions, and we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right, if you'll all stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we have three business items, the most important ones first. So welcome, Mr. Mendenhall.
Thank you.
Or, Commissioner Mendenhall, I suppose. You've graduated up. But is anybody going to do an intro?
I'll do a
Mr.
brief
Agate?
intro. Yeah,
Please.
yeah. So Paul Mendenhall was ratified by the council upon the mayor's selection on the January 6th, or during the January 6th city council meeting. Very excited to have him. I had a discussion with Commissioner Mendenhall, I think it was last Friday or Thursday, for a little while. We talked about a lot of things. Planning Commission, gave him Planning Commission training materials and things, given up to speed, got to know him. I think he's going to do great. He has had previous experience, if you're okay with me sharing that, on the Planning Commission many decades ago.
It's been a long time. Things have changed.
So we had a very good discussion about the history and about the position opportunity and filling this role, and I think he's going to be a great addition to the Planning Commission. He asked a lot of great questions, seems very interested in learning and getting caught up to speed. So hopefully you'll welcome him the same way that, with the same, I guess, excitement and opportunity to get to know him in that capacity. So I think that's all I really have, Paul. Hopefully that's enough, but I guess I'll turn it over to you.
I think that's sufficient. I think that's well done.
Do you have anything you'd like to say, Paul?
Should I? I don't know that I have any. I mean, my wife and I have lived in Centerville since 1973, and this is home. We love the community, we love the people, and want to serve.
Excellent. When did you serve on Planning Commission?
1986, thereabouts.
Nice. Welcome back.
It's good to be back. It's all changed. It's all
Right.
different. Things have changed a lot in Centerville in that time frame.
Fair enough. Well, we all welcome you. Thank you. We're going to move on to agenda item 2, public hearing on the zoning maps amendments for the Packer property. Before we do that, I believe Mr. Mendenhall or Commissioner Mendenhall, you want to do a quick disclosure.
Just quickly, just so you're aware, we remodeled our home twice, and Spence has been our contractor in both cases. I don't think that will be anything that I need to recluse myself on the matter in front of us tonight.
Okay. Do any commissioners have an issue that they'd like to raise? Okay,
No.
We'll proceed to number 2. Mr. Agate, are you leading out?
Actually, it's Mr.
Ms. DeWeese, thank you. All right, take the floor.
All right. As you guys know how I do my staff report, I hope that you guys have read it, and I will give you a brief overview. So the applicant, Spencer Packer, is requesting a zoning map amendment associated with the property currently zoned residential low. The owner is requesting to rezone the property to agriculture low. Basically, how all of this came about was that Spencer and his son came in a couple months ago and wanted to figure out what they wanted to do with the property. They gave us that they wanted to put a barn on there, and with the current zoning code for an agriculture low property, having a barn or a shed on the property is permitted. Residential low, that's not permitted. A household has to be on there. So what we're looking to do is to rezone the front property so then it is permitted, and then dissolving the property line in between at a later time and at a later date, so then they can do what they want with the property. So with that, once again, we will just be strictly looking at the rezone in question. We're going to switch over to page 3 of the staff report for the code requirements and review of the analysis. Is the proposed amendment consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the general plan? Yes, for the current general plan and for the proposed general plan. Just as a reminder, though, that this should be a guiding document. It should be more so of a guiding document. Question number 2, is the proposed zoning amendment harmonious with the overall character of the existing development in the vicinity of the subject property? I said yes. Per CZC 12.31, which is the agriculture zoning code, the property would match the use and standards of the applicability to all of the surrounding zones, which even though they are residential low and agriculture low, the use that the applicant is wanting to do it would be very much so aligned with the surrounding areas. Number 3, what is the extent to which the proposed amendment may adversely affect the adjacent properties? Staff believes minimal to nothing at all. Most of the surrounding properties, once again, are proposed for this zone, and the primary use of the area would not change. Number 4, what is the adequacy of facilities and services intended to serve the subject property? This area already has utilities available. The only addition is the utility adjustments, that may be adding some stubs into that property. But we will be reviewing that at the time of building, and that's just a typical process that we do. So that's my brief overview of my staff report. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, or the applicant is also here today.
Perfect. Would you mind pulling up the map, please?
Yeah.
Just the aerials. That works. So when you say that there's a parcel to the east, what's the parcel that Mr. Packer owns?
So he owns this one right here,
Right.
which is where the proposed shed could be. And then
Okay.
this is the subject property that we're rezoning.
It's right on Fourth West, yeah.
So my one concern was, you know, we're exacerbating a landlocked parcel. I'm just wondering if they were ever to sever ownership in the future, what's to be done, if anything?
So these parcels are going to be merged together eventually.
That's the goal, but we don't have, we, the city, aren't requiring that, correct?
For the use that if they want to follow up with having a barn or a shed on there, then they will need to merge the parcels because of that very reason.
Right.
They need to have frontage, which is why then we are rezoning to
Right.
agriculture low.
And that's, just wanted to tease that out into the record and make sure we're understanding that. Okay, thank you. Anybody else have questions for staff?
Yeah, does Centerville allow line consolidation and just like bypassing all of the rezoning? Is that something that Centerville does or allows? I'm not
You
sure.
mean changing the zoning?
Just instead of like, well, I guess maybe that's probably not an appropriate question. So, one thing I was more not concerned about, like I honestly don't see much of an issue with this at all, but in reading the zoning code, it says, and the way I interpret it, it says, no accessory use, building or structure shall be allowed on a lot or parcel unless a permitted or conditional use has been and is currently being established. So he wants to build the barn first, but the way I interpret that is unless there is already an agricultural activity occurring that's not allowed without a main building first. Does that make sense? Is that how it's interpreted, or am I misunderstanding that?
My interpretation of that is that because if I got this question beforehand, I would definitely be able to find it in the code, so bear with me on this, but I'm pretty sure that in an agriculture, zone, it specifically calls out that a barn and/or agriculture use structure is permitted as a primary use.
On an agricultural
There's a
lot.
second, it's in 12.31.040B2. You read sentence one, so it's creating an opportunity for the pre-existing to continue existing. But then there's a second sentence that says this: an agricultural accessory building accessory to a permitted or conditional agricultural use of the lot or parcel may be constructed prior to a main building on any lot or parcel located within an agricultural zone, and that has a minimum acre of 1/2 acre or larger. So
Right.
that sentence holds on its own merit.
Okay, I mean, I guess that's kind of contradicting itself where, you know, it says that, but then where I read it's not allowed unless the conditional use or permit has been granted and is already established. So again, I mean, that's semantics kind of, but.
And
just
that will
kind of
be,
question I
have to
had.
be analyzed when they come in for that building permit. But there are special carve-outs under state law for agricultural uses and buildings. And so that was why the recommendation to, you know, rezone this back to agriculture, then they could get to what they want to do.
Okay.
But I agree, if both lots were zoned residential, then it's a main residential use is what they would need. So I think the agricultural zoning helps them overcome that. Under the code that Mr. Eggett just read.
Would the shed be able to be used for any way other than, I mean, would they have a domicile
It
there?
needs to be agriculture.
Yeah.
It has to be an agricultural building in order to fall under that. So no, they can't use it to just store boats or other, you know, residential uses or commercial uses without that primary use. So
And
in
no-
Centerville, if you have a residential lot, you can't just build a building or a shed or a garage and store stuff. You need that primary use.
Right. And nobody can live in this shed?
Correct.
Right. Okay. Any other questions for staff? All right, who's here for the applicant? Welcome, sir, if you'll state your name.
Spencer Packer.
Welcome, Mr.
I'm at
Packer.
581 Valley Drive and have this property on Fourth West. I've held this property for a number of years and explored different ways and means of how I could utilize it. Currently, I use it as pasture ground and have horses on there that I rotate in and out depending on the feed, and actually bale hay on the east parcel that's residential one. It was, I think, March, not quite a year ago, I met with staff with Mike Eggett and Lisa and Sydney, and also the city manager, and just reviewed what my goal was to place an outbuilding. I'd actually chatted with the previous development director, Mr. Snyder, and he opened the window of, well, you know, it's ag, you can build a building there before you build a house. And that kind of set to where, okay, that's kind of the direction or goal I was going to try to achieve. And then I came back and met with staff and reviewed what it would take to accomplish that. And I didn't wade so deep into the ordinances by line. I did investigate with Mike just doing a lot line adjustment and not rezoning. And Mike gave me some state statutes and things that basically said that was a bigger Everest to climb than a rezone that was the suggested direction. So that was the genesis of my application, wanting to rezone so I can put this barn outbuilding in the back. So.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay.
One second, anybody have questions for the applicant?
I mean, do you continue to plan on using it like agriculturally for your horses and stuff like that? Is that its intended use going forward?
Yes, I'll use the front pasture. I still need pasture.
Okay.
Putting a building there and having things like horse trailers, and I have a myriad of farm equipment and things, will reduce what my grazing is. But I do have an intent to put power there and water. I need year-round water, obviously, to maintain animals, so those are elements I'm going to push forward as well.
Any other questions?
Do you already have water rights available there?
I have secondary water rights, yes. And year-round
That
water,
will be
city
sufficient for
water.
your animals?
Pardon?
And that will be sufficient for your animals?
Not secondary water because it's seasonal. I need year-round water if I were to winter horses there. I currently don't,
So where do you plan to obtain those from?
from the street. From this parcel has street frontage. So the city water's available there, and actually I investigated utilities for the future home. The sewer lateral actually is within I'm gonna say back of sidewalk in that particular location.
Right.
As well, so that's an easy access for sewer. Water's across the street. I met with some contractors that talked about the process of that is likely boring to reach that utility. And I haven't determined yet where the gas is. So I'm looking at it as a stepping stone to the master plan, which is to have the building in the back and then eventually a future home. And my goal there is not a sale home, even though I'm in construction. This is a residence that I've been planning to build for myself. At my age and Paul's age, single-level living is quite some more attractive.
Most assuredly.
Yeah.
Excellent. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Packer.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question of Sydney?
Yeah, go ahead.
Properties that go behind the properties that front on 2025 North and front on 1950s, that strip in there, what are those zoned currently?
Are you,
Agricultural.
if you
All
see
of them,
it,
is
those?
that whole strip?
Yes, yep.
So this is,
Everything in the
this is consistent with the zoning on all of those properties?
Yeah, we're not doing
behind
any kind of spot zoning for this,
that?
and
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff or the applicant before I open things up? No? Okay, so I am going to open up the public hearing. If anybody would like to provide comment, if you'll please come to the podium, state your name, your address, and your question or comment. Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and we'll bring it back to the commission for questions or discussion. Does anybody have any? Okay, well then let's consider a motion. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I will make a motion.
Very good.
For the planning commission to recommend city council approval of the zoning map amendment for the property located approximately at 1000 North, 400 West, known as parcel 07-072-0115, from residential low zoning to agricultural low zoning, with the following findings for action 1 through 4.
I'll second. So I have a first and a second on the table. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll start down here.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
and that passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item number 3 on the calendar. That is the zoning code and municipal code amendments for everybody's favorite, LUDMA Chapter 20. Yay! Let's mix all the numbers. Take it, I'm assuming, Lisa, you're going to lead out on this.
Yes.
There you
thank
go.
There you go.
The state legislature adopted in their first special session, so they sort of snuck it in on us in October of last year, SB 1008, which completely reorganizes and renumbers the municipal land use code. And for those of us that have been dealing with it at 10-9A for 20 years, this is hard.
It's rough.
This is so, right now, you just know, chapter 8 is subdivisions this, and anyway, but that being said, I do think that they've made some good organizational changes, things, as codes develop, they would just put things at the end, and they've moved those out, so. And then they've also made a separate chapter, they sort of pulled out the housing policies and affordable housing and put those in chapter 21. So you may hear me still say Title 10, Chapter 9A. We're just trying to catch ourselves now, though, and this is the first step, is going through our entire municipal code and zoning code to change all references to, rather than Title 10, Chapter 9A, to Title 10, Chapter 20, and Chapter 21, depending on the section that's been amended. So it was quite a task until I found a provision, I guess just on the league's website, that they call it a crosswalk, and so they were comparing where these were over to all of these, because if you look at the actual bill, they had the numbers, these are the ones that are amended, but then rather than putting them all in order, they're like, oh, but these are the ones that are, repealed or, just renumbered, so it wasn't sequential. So anyway, we're just proposing this to come into compliance with the new state numbering. And it does require a public hearing, but staff recommends that we approve these minor corrections to our municipal code and zoning code.
So I'm sure this is going to be a cantankerous discussion, but I am going to bring it back to the commission. Does anybody have any issues?
Can we deny it just for her sake?
Unfortunately, hierarchy doesn't punch up. They just
Yeah.
get to punch down.
But we do agree.
We have to
Please
figure
don't.
this
yeah.
out.
I jest, obviously, but experiencing the same disorientation as Lisa, I echo the concerns. However, I do not see any problem with agenda item 3. I'll entertain a motion.
We just have to have our public hearing.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay. I am going to open this up for public hearing. Anybody who wishes to discuss the code amendment changes, please come to the podium, state your name, your address,
Another one.
your comment. And we'll wait 7 seconds. That's what I do.
Okay.
All right, seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. I'll bring it back to the commission for a motion.
Make a motion to put to file.
I'm sorry, it's just in the recommendation.
Staff report, go to staff
The
report,
Cover sheet,
Yeah.
there you go.
recommendation. That's where the substance of the motion could be.
Gotta know what
Right before that, right before that.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of ordinance number 2026-01, amending various provisions of the Centerville zoning code and the Centerville municipal code to address comprehensive renumbering of the Utah Land Use Development and Management Act from Title 10, Chapter 9A of the Utah Code to Title 10, Chapters 20 and 21.
So, yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just say I second.
Okay, so I have a first and a second on the table. My question for you, Lisa, is sometimes when we do these things, we allow staff scrivener's power to, make modest changes.
Yes, is there an error?
No, I'm just saying, like, as you're going through, I can imagine with all of this, there's the potential for things like style, edit, commas, just stuff like that. I'd like to add to the motion that staff has scrivener's powers to just adjust things to make them smooth and appropriate.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So that's my amendment to the motion, if you're willing to add that to your motion. You'll take
I'm
it-
willing to
Take
have
it
that
as a
motion.
friendly amendment. And Mr. Second, are you okay with that?
I am okay with
Okay, so the amended motion would basically say the same thing, and that staff be delegated scrivener's powers to make adjustments.
Thank you.
And then I am ready for a call on the motion.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that passes unanimously. We are moving rapidly forward to the commissioner, or the community development report.
Thank you. Just wanted to let you know that with tonight's recommendations, one or both of those will be at the city council meeting, obviously Tuesday, we'll move those forward. And then the meeting that we have next in February, shit, what date is that? February, I don't know the date.
Fifth, the following one, is that what you're
What's the first meeting in February? Anyway,
The second?
one second.
Oh,
I can't think, February 10th. There you
Thank
go.
you.
February, no, 11th. At any rate, we have, where I was going is we have an applicant who will likely be bringing an item for a proposed or requested zoning code text amendment. So just, that kind of give you a highlight, but that is the only item we have on the upcoming agenda. The other thing I would note is that the Legislative Policy Committee is fully in session. So if you haven't had a chance to pay attention to what's going on, you should. There are things that do affect land use that are being negotiated. And one of those things is something that we will, I don't know, would we bring WUI to this body as well? Probably.
if it impacts the zoning or subdivision ordinance, but if it's just the municipal code, it would not.
Okay.
But we do have to adopt some amendments for that.
That's where I was going at any rate. We also, as part of discussing legislation, and the reason I tied to LPC, because the legislature is looking at even more amendments to a bill that was passed last year, HB 248 of 2025, which requires wildland urban interface mapping and ordinance revisions to be added to city codes. So be watching for that. It may not come to this body, but it is something at least worth watching, even if it just goes to the city council, be aware of. Every city in the state of Utah has either engaged in this process or is engaging in this process. And then they're already talking about revisions to it with this current session. So other things that they're talking about with the current legislative session is they are talking about different variations on ADUs. There is some discussion about detached ADUs. So we'll see where that goes. Trying to think if there's anything else really highlight on. I know Representative Ward has a bill that's being scrutinized regarding smaller lots on traditional residential lots, regardless of the zoning code lot size. So you can look at that one. Trying to think if there's any others that I missed. At any rate, I'm not an encyclopedia of all of them. I couldn't be with how many come through day in and day out, but I highly recommend that you try to pay attention to different variations of categories if there's things you look at. Even there are some things relative to, as you've probably seen in the news, tax codes relative to how city assessments on taxes will be looked at, and there's different levels of scrutiny and a lot of different funding bills that are being looked at that the league is following. So
Is that the one that's going to impose or allegedly impose or wants to impose the 5% cap?
there's that one,
Yeah.
that's one, and then the other is the 65-45 with commercial and residential. So,
But I didn't see one where connexes can be tiny homes. So
yeah,
there's that.
we're not there yet, but, without speculating too much, if we did have smaller lot sizes, who knows?
I know, right? What are you going to fit there? Double stack a connex container.
Oh, it's tough to think about, but anyway.
It's efficient.
Yeah, and so it's been a week, that we're on the second week, so just very much I would recommend paying attention as much as you're able to accomplish with how much is out there. Just be aware of what's coming. There's quite a bit of highlighting. You can go to the Utah League of Cities and Towns website. They have a tracker, and that will give you some highlights of bills that maybe would be more relevant to cities. But even as a resident of the community, there may be things that might be applicable to you as even a homeowner and a community member. So that's all I would say in plugging that conversation. Other than that, I don't have any other comments at this time unless you have questions for me.
Thank you.
No, thanks for keeping the pulse on it, especially given how chaotic things are.
Oh, it's
I usually wait till the last day,
Absolutely.
That's when the real business is.
That's when the real happens. And even then. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Eggett. Let's move on to the minutes.
I reviewed those.
Excellent. There are some additional proposed additions to the minutes that we
Yes.
would like to consider.
If I could, Chair and Planning Commission, typically staff doesn't amend many of the minutes, but I thought since this was an important decision forwarded to the city council on the general plan, and it's very lengthy. I re-listened to the video, and it was about a 45 to 50-minute motion.
Yeah.
So we had a motion, and then we added some things. So anyway, I am suggesting that the planning commission consider adding the following, and this is to the main motion when Commissioner Kerr added two things. It was a friendly amendment that was accepted. So it would say Commissioner Hoth accepted a friendly amendment to the motion by Chair Kerr to clarify that the version of the proposed amendments is the version referred to the planning commission most recently from the consultants, point number one, and also adding a delegation between now and when it appears for consideration by the city council that mechanical changes can be made by staff, including such things as formatting, Scrivener's errors, and factual remedying. So I think it's important to add that second point, because we did talk extensively about, well, what about this chart, and what about that? And I think the direction from the planning commission was, well, we think those are all formatting, like if there's a number that's wrong, then fix it. So those are all encompassed under
Right.
that comment. We did also talk about the active transportation comment recommended by staff, but that was picked up in the amendment. So I'd like to go to the other suggested changes on Vice Chair Patterson's amendment to the motion, which said, because the original motion just said, we move this on, we forward a positive recommendation to the city council with the noted advice provided by the planning commission. So I did re-listen, and that's what was said, so it didn't give a lot of direction.
Right.
So then the amendment is really where most of the direction came from, and this is after the 45-minute conversation. Vice Chair Patterson moved to amend the motion, and I'm suggesting that we add to modify the recommendation to indicate that there are specific categories being called out by the Planning Commission based on written and verbal public comments, and that these categories should be emphasized for more detailed review by the City Council, including the following specific categories. So I think that, in a more helpful way to the City Council, says,
yes,
these
yeah.
are the sections that we think are important because of all of this public comment, that we want to look at these. And then in listening, we don't have to add these parentheticals, but in listening to the recap of the motion, this is actually verbatim where it was said, you know, for instance, on Parish Lane, and then the suggested changes, it was said, needs to be reevaluated based upon written and verbal public comment. Same thing on the west side, same thing on the town center. And then chart B, the corrections we wanted there, which again, I think is helpful to the council, said, make sure it's conforming to fact and accurate organizational structure, because there were multiple issues there where some of the numbers were not accurate, but then also it said something like, well, this is the residents' number one priority, when really it was number 3. So anyway,
Yeah,
trying to get
right.
more detail, but that's what was said. Same thing with housing, and then just stating on this active transportation plan that it needs to be reevaluated pursuant to the staff recommendations, which I think were earlier in the minutes.
Yeah.
So I suggest, I rarely suggest amendments, but again, these I think are important to reiterate that the planning commission struggled with the, you know, all of the public comment and, you know, what they wanted to forward to the council, but basically they did say, we want you to focus on these 8 topics at a minimum.
Nice work.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed.
I think that's helpful.
They're still going to have to go back and watch the video, probably. Because there was a lot there.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is a great roadmap.
And we will forward all the public comment to the council when
Right,
they see it
right.
as well, including the one that was excluded at the planning commission because it was untimely.
Right.
They'll see that.
Right.
Okay, so aside from staff's suggested revisions, does anybody else want to walk through the other parts of the minutes to make any revisions or suggestions?
I think we just add these.
Sure, but before we do that, I want like pages 1
Sorry.
or, yeah, no, that's fair. Anybody else have any other additional
I had no other
revisions?
Yeah, I didn't
changes.
see anything else.
Okay, as always, staff, you guys are doing a great job on the
This
minutes.
this is helpful.
So I'll make a motion. I move that we amend the minutes as indicated in the handout that's been provided to us, the red line handout, so that those then become the accurate minutes as amended.
I will second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further conversation? All right, I'll take just a poll from here.
Aye.
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 And I'm going to abstain because I wasn't at the meeting, so.
Fair.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Mendenhall. And so that then is a four nil or whatever. 4 dash. All right, I think we have arrived. I'll take a motion. Adjourn.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor say aye. Oh, yes.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Stay in your seat.
Yeah.